Joining us now is outgoing Republican Congressman Jeff Denham of California. Congressman Denham lost in his re-election bid 3 weeks ago. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. I really do appreciate your time this morning. You look at what's happening to David Valadao in the 21st. You look at what happened to all of your colleagues and Republicans running in those Republican seats. What happened to you all in California?
Well, John, it's good to be back with you again. Certainly it's disappointing, to not only lose the House, but to see so many of my colleagues in California lose races that they were up, many of which were up very big on election night. Ahead in the polls, election day voters voted for them overwhelmingly. Absentee ballots came in. Those were overwhelmingly for them. But these late provisionals, 3 weeks later, still counting, you can move a race 8 to 10 points. Beyond what polling for registered voters are, but move them 8 to 10 points 3 weeks after the election. It's unbelievable.
Well, hang
and it's
on
something
here.
We're going to, as Republicans in California, we're going to have to look at.
Are you actually alleging some kind of malfeasance here?
No, what I'm alleging is we do polling, just like you showed polling of the president's numbers earlier with registered voters. We did that in my district. The president was almost even in our district. We were way up on election night. Only to see that lead go by in provisional voters. Now, has changed our laws several times in California over the last couple of election cycles, but in particular mailed out ballots to brand new voters that got their ballots through the DMV, through motor voters is what we call them here in California. We also had same-day voter registration. So it's a different phenomenon in California than what we saw across the rest of the country.
Look, I get it, but these are all legal votes, correct?
Well, I think that's something that we're going to have to take a look at.
You dispute the fact that these are legal votes, that the reason that the Republicans lost these House seats in California, you don't think it was legal votes that cost them the election?
No, I'm not alleging anything. I don't think we know right now. What I do know is the laws have changed several times.
But how do we not know? I'm sorry, but when you say we don't know, you're adding an element of uncertainty here. There may be 40 House seats across the country that Republicans lost. So clearly there was something of a wave here. So clearly what happened in these districts, and they all have some of the elements that Republicans lost in the races around the country, they had those same elements. There's a trend here, but you're suggesting that it was something else, or at least you're open to the possibility that it was something else, that there's some kind of fraud going on here?
I'm suggesting that 3 weeks after the election, you've seen a seat that has moved 10 points from what it was originally done on Election Day. That is something that we ought to look at. We ought to take a look at what is the new phenomena that is bringing brand new registered voters on Election Day or bringing in ballots after Election Day that is swaying these seats.
What's wrong with registering brand new voters?
Nothing. Nothing. We should. As long as they are citizens and legal to vote, we ought to be encouraging everybody to vote.
Okay.
But bringing in ballots after the election, counting ballots 3 weeks after the election, we can do better than that.
By law, by clearly written California law. So nothing was done in opposition to California law here, correct?
No, I'm not disputing.
Okay. I'm sorry we got
think
sidetracked.
it
I
is
was just
concerning.
surprised.
3 weeks.
I was surprised to hear you say, given the wave nature of this election, that there was something other than just voters voting their minds and hearts here. And what I was going to ask you about is why? What about this election made it harder for Republicans across the country? Is there something that you believe they're seeing in the president that they don't like?
Well, certainly midterms are always difficult. I came in under that first midterm where we took 92 seats. 64 of which were new seats that were switchovers from Democrats.